Hi friends, Tessa here, the Artful Colorist. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about my Angie Grace coloring book collection. So I'm going to start off with her Extreme Coloring Books Volume 1 and 2. Those are the two ones I have in my collection, and that's Wow and Cool. And so in these ones I'm just going to do a quick kind of brief flip through, and if I have any pages that I've already colored, I'm going to also show you those guys. So every book Angie has, she does 50 pages of each book, and she usually releases one every few months. Well, I would like to say like every 6 or 7 months she surprises us with a new book. And this one I did with Bic, the fine liner, their market. Blah, blah, if I can talk today. These are done with the Bic Market fine liners, or not fine liners, just fine, ultra fine points. And then I did get a little bit of shading. I was really impressed when I did that with the Bic Market permanent pens. They're ultra fines. I have to say that, you know, you don't need to have a ton of money to be able to achieve what you want to achieve. You just need to practice and see what you got. And if you're only able to afford the Sharpies or the Bic markers, then go for it. So I'm not going to go through all of the pages. This is one of her neater books. I like this one. Unfortunately, these are a lot of my older stuff, the stuff that I started doing originally when I first started getting into coloring, and I don't have them video recorded because this was just something I started doing or getting back into as an adult. And so I just never really got into, I didn't do my YouTube channel until a few months after this, because yeah, I just didn't have the courage, and you guys are giving me the courage to be able to keep going on. So this is Cool, her second book in the Extreme Coloring Book Volume 2. I've only done, I like to mark what pages I've done. My son did page 38, and he likes that one. I can, in another video, I'll show you the painting. So here's that. I did this with Sharpies. I did it with Sharpies, fine, ultra fine Bic marks at ultra fine, and One Touch white paint pen. I used to, I'm gonna get back into the habit of marking what I do on different stuff. I used to mark them on the back, but when you have a newborn who was just born 2 months ago and a 5-year-old who's very precocious, you tend to not want a lot of things that you used to do kind of get a little bit lackadaisy. So here is the Cool, and when I do my Cool stuff, I like to mark all of my pages. I do the page number and then what book it comes from, the title of the book, so that when I go back I can reference, and if somebody asks me, oh, what book did that come from? And I can say, oh, it was page number 12, Cool. Angie doesn't, one thing about Angie's stuff, she does not sign any of the images that she puts in her books. She allows them to be just the image, and I find that they're fantastic that way. But they're highly recognizable. If you start coloring Angie stuff, you will see when somebody tries to pass an Angie Grace design off on their own, you will know that it's not theirs, it's an Angie Grace. So this is Cool. Let's see, let's get to some of the pages I colored. Let's see. I know that's what you guys are dying to see. This is done in Sharpies. It's just a flat before I really started shading There was just a flat color. I did that in almost 2 years ago, in May. May 5th, 2015 is when I finished. I always mark when I finish a page, what date. And then this one, I was trying to figure out how to get gold into my painting or my coloring. And you know, it worked, but it failed. I wasn't perfect. And that's the one thing I'm just learning. And then I did use Spectrum Noir markers with those. And I found that, unfortunately, the Spectrum Noir, I don't know how you pronounce that, but Noir. For me personally, I really don't, I like the way that the marker works, but I had so many difficulties with the numbering system on their markers rubbing off on the full set that I bought, and it was over like half of the markers. And they were gracious enough at Crafter's Companion to reimburse me or not reimburse, but more like they sent me new markers and I sent them a few markers back. They didn't expect me to send them all back, but it was just devastating because the whole point of their system is their number system. It's kind of like Copics. You kind of need to know the number system to be able to do the blending and shading. And if it's rubbing off, then unfortunately I can't use them. This was another one I did about 10 days after I did the last one. This is done in Sharpies. No, actually it's done in Bic, Marks It, Ultra Fine, and Jelly Roll White gel pen. And this one also is done in Bic, Marks It, Ultra Fine, Jelly Roll White. I really like the Bic Marks It. This is before I got my Copics. And I really wish that Bic would make more colors because they are fantastic. So that was that. Let's see. That was Angie's Cool. I do have a bunch more. Let's take a look. This might be a long video, so if you want, sit back, grab a cup of tea. I'm gonna go kind of quickly through all of these coloring books. But do sit back. I do have more. So give me a second and I will come back. I'll do this one because it was the closest stack to me. Let's see. These are Angie Grace pattern books. If you're not into like mandalas or mandrels, these are some of the better books they get. I like these ones because she really is an artist who also is a colorist at the same time, so she understands the nuances of coloring and what most people want to do to color, and that's why I really like her books. So she has a bunch. I don't have the full series. I just picked out what I like. I mean, when I buy books, I pick out what I like. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these pattern books. So I have number 1. This is Inky Doodles. Let's see. I have not colored in this one yet. This one is a full Angie said this is one of her one of her first books that she did. Sorry, I can't speak. It's 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm trying to do this video for you guys. So bear with me. Number 2, pattern book, Whimsy. I did do 1 out of this book. I have so many things to color and so many things to do, so it's like, I'm sorry guys. It's just, I have so many big plans, but with kids it just does not always work out. So here's the one I did and that my son actually kind of guided me through the process. He kind of picked the colors and said, hey mommy, use a green color, or hey mommy, use a pink. And so I did. you'll start seeing in some of these that my coloring gets better over time. And I've noticed that too. It just, even though that I've been coloring all my life, I've noticed that I actually am getting better and things are improving, and I am always constantly learning new techniques and stuff. So here's Sassy, or I can't speak. Yeah, book 3. Let's go for it. I do not think I have ever colored in this one. See, that's my trouble. I buy books and I never color them because I don't have the time. I'm gonna start making, that's my new thing, to make time for you guys, and time, hopefully, fingers crossed, if my husband can build me a YouTube filming shed in our backyard, because that would be fantastic. Flowers. I actually did a couple of, well, I did one. I thought I did a couple. So let's see. I'll do a quick flip through. I like her patterns. I know that it might seem overwhelming and daunting and the pieces are really small, but if you really do, when you use Copic markers or some kind of marker, do a dabbing technique, you kind of don't go all the way to the edge. I've learned, because I used to be one of those people that outlined everything, and then it wasn't practical to outline anything when you're working in such a small area. But this is done with my Faber-Castell Polychromo colored pencils, and it's one of my favorite ones that I did. I just love the blending technique that I did on the wood, and just I use white spirits from Winsor & Newton. White spirit, it's almost like a linseed oil, or not even that, or like yeah, I don't know. I can't think this morning. I'm sorry, guys. So, moving on. I got Nifty, Volume 10. I know I've done a couple in this one because I love this book. This one was one of my favorites. Well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to pause the video for now after I do the Nifty book, because my newborn is crying and my husband is quite sick today, and I'm going to try to give him. These are done with Copic, Dr. P.H. Martin R11, and Sakura Jelly Roll pen, white pen. And this one was my fall theme that I did for challenge in coloring with Angie Grace's coloring group when she was administrator of that before she stepped down. So, and then I have one more that I colored in this one, and I'll show you. I didn't, this is done with Prismacolors. I was using it more as an example. Prismacolors to me tend to bloom, or they kind of, because they're a waxy or colored pencil, they tend to want to kind of look white. Sometimes it's called blooming. That's why I switched from Prismacolor. I love them, don't get me wrong. The Prismacolor Premier, they're soft core. I like them. I love them. I've been using them since I was probably 8 years old. But unfortunately, I don't like the blooming. So I switched to the Polychromos, the Faber-Castell ones. So this is number 12. Which one was this one? This was number 10, Nifty number 10. See, I don't have all of her books because I go from 8 to 10 and then 12. I don't have 11. This is Poppy. I have not colored in this one. Maybe we'll have to do some longer videos, because see, the pattern books to me take a little longer for me to color than some of the mandrel stuff and the mandalas that I've been doing. So, and I always really want to use colored pencils, and I'm super slow with colored pencils, and that's why unfortunately, with a newborn, it's hard to do. And I'll stop using that excuse, I promise. So this is the last one in the patterns book. This is number 14, Quirky. I love this one. You can tell I've colored a bunch of them. I've colored 5 pages. So let's see. I don't think I have to go. I think I can actually finish up this video for you guys. And I'll show you some of the stuff that I colored in the Quirky book. So for a while there, I was saving my swatches of what I colored and how I colored and what materials I used and what colors I used. Unfortunately, I'm not that organized right now. I'm a little bit more scatterbrained. But these are done in Copic's Sakura Jelly Rolls and the Sakura glitter pens. I don't know if you can see the glitter. Not really, because I didn't put a lot of glitter. I just kind of put a line down the middle of different stuff. I actually like this one. This was one of my ones that I like too. This one's done with Copic markers, the Sakura Jelly Roll white pen again, and a gold pen. I didn't mark that down. I think it was the Sharpie gold paint pen. And their fine tip or ultra fine tip. And then, let's see. Sorry, I'm just kind of flipping through. I'll flip through. Oh, there you go. So I did this one in Copic's and Spectrum Noir markers and the Sakura Jelly Rolls. Yeah. I really got into, when I first kind of being introduced to adult coloring again, I noticed that a lot of people were doing the white details, and I loved that. That was one of my favorite things that people were doing, and it just, to me, enhanced their colorings, and I adored it. So, I do through 16 and 2. Okay. Sorry, the pages are getting... So there's 16 that I colored. I colored this one with jelly rolls, mostly. Wasn't too happy with it, but it's a unique design. I mean, I don't throw any of my colorings away, and I have to tell you, if I start a coloring, I 99% cannot finish it until I'm done, and I will not go to... And these are done with Spectrum Noir and... Let's see. What did I write? Spectrum Noir and Pilot and Pentel. Oh, Liquid Gel Ink Purple. So that is, if you can tell, I did one heart and then I did another heart right here. I don't know if you can tell that on screen, but I did. Yeah, so those are my pattern books from Angie. And then Angie started doing this really cool thing where, let me transition out for you guys. Well, we're getting there. Okay. I'm gonna pull 2 stacks. Okay, this is stack. This is stack 1. And then step 2. So Angie started doing these coloring books where she would do the adult, these are the extreme stress mandrels, and then she would do something really cool. She would do extreme stress mandrels, but these ones are a little larger, and they're for crayons and white markers, white tipped markers. So I did this balance was these was my first book that I purchased, so I did a lot of them in here. I think at one point I might buy another book, buy another one. And if you're wondering why I'm not copying these images or transfer into a more of a marker or marker paper or a Bristol paper is because I really enjoy the paper that they come on. They're printed by Amazon and they're all independently printed, and the thing is, I really enjoy the paper. They work really well with markers. They work really well with colored pencils. They work really well with Inktense colored pencils. They do all right with watercolor, but not 100% great. You just have to be careful and not oversaturate an area. This one was my very first one that I ever did, and it is with Crayon colored pencils. I loved and adored what I found because I didn't really want to invest a ton of money in adult coloring at the time. I was going through a bunch of stuff with a friend and it kind of fizzled out, and so I wanted to get back into it. I just wanted to invest and say, look, I need something to de-stress myself. So I started coloring with the Crayola colored pencils. I soon started coloring also with Sharpies. I love Sharpies, but I was going through different groups and coloring groups and finding out that was with Sharpies, and then Pentel artist brush pens, and then the Uniball Vision fine liner on the last one. These are all done with Sharpies. Oh, actually, these are done with Spectrum Noir, Sharpies, gel pens, and one Copic Black, and then a gold pen. So I want to stress to you, I like Copics. I love them. I like other stuff too. You don't have to sit here and invest in a ton of money to get great results. Once again, Spectrum Noir markers, and a lot of these ones I never videoed because I didn't have the setup and I didn't have the confidence, and also I just was doing this for fun. This one is one that I really like. I did it for I call it Grandma's Garden, and I find that it reminds me of my Hungarian grandmother who passed away about 16 years ago. So yeah, I really enjoyed doing this one. I found that it was a lot of fun. And then at one point, you'll notice that I used to name stuff because that was very popular in the beginning when you did adult coloring. You name your pieces and you say, oh, this is blah, blah, blah. And I kind of got over that aspect. If you feel like you want to name your piece, go for it. So I'm going to just quickly go through the ones we saw that. And if I'm skipping some, I'm sorry. I just want you to guys get a glimpse of what you can do with Angie's stuff. This is another one of my beginning stuff that I did in July, right around the 4th of July. Unfortunately, with Colorist, or with me being a colorist and my sense of stuff, I tend to be like 3 or 4 holidays forward. And this one I did for my mom for her birthday, and I still have to get it framed. But this was done with Copic markers, Sacred Jelly Rolls, and white and glitter in the Sacred Jelly Rolls. I don't know if you guys can see. I added a little bit more glitter on this one. But at some point I will get that framed for her birthday that I did 2 years ago. I am one of those people that are notorious late on a lot of stuff. Oh. This one was a Halloween themed, off of a picture that we were using as reference. Really liked doing that one. Then I did this one. This one was done with Bic markers. Yep. Oh, I said Sharpies. I think it was done with the Bics, because I don't think I have any of these colors, some of the colors in the Sharpies. So that's balanced. I know I'm kind of going on. I'm going to quickly start going through these a little bit faster. So balanced in the wide mark for the regular stuff, and then in wide marker balance is a little different. Angie took more center pieces of the balance book and kind of tweaked them and made them into their own design. They are slightly recognizable on from the bigger version, but the smaller version does have a little bit of a difference, and Angie will tell you that herself. Yeah, so this is the wide markers. If you're not really used to and want to do any of the stuff that is in more of the traditional de-stress books, these are great. I find that these ones, for me, I can lay down color quite fast and I can really get a good understanding, and it kind of tends to allow me to breathe. This is one of my favorite pieces I've done so far. This is done with the Derwent Inktense pencils and a Dove blending marker, and I found and of course my white jelly roll, but I fell in love with these pencils with this picture. This picture is one of my favorites I've ever done, and I really do think I need to get it framed. I always say that I'm going to frame these, and it never happens. So now going on, centered. These are the same kind of concept. You get your larger versions in the extreme mandrel pages. That was for when Alan Rickman died for Slytherin, because that's the house I was chosen to be in. I know I'm a dork. It's okay. And then that was me attempting to try to use jelly roll pens again. I'm not really, you know, yes, you might think that I'm one of those people that go crazy and do everything. You see people like this and you see them, but you never see them fail. Copic markers, for the first time I did, I didn't do a lot of blending or shading with Copics at this moment in time. This is right when I got my Copics. I got them around my birthday. And so, yeah, so there's centered for the regular centered, and then wide marker back to back. You'll notice that some of the middle parts are the same. And Angie keeps them pretty cohesive, so like if one is the same one, how do I say this? So like if you're gonna color something and you wanted to color page 30 in the regular book, you'll notice that page 30 is the same but slightly different. I can show you an example. So I colored 5 and 14 on this book. I might be an hour-long video. Sorry, guys. So 5. I just wanted to show you an example. So there's 5. Yeah, is that 5? Yes. Okay. So now, if you'll notice, 5. This is the one from the regular book. Let's get this in frame. Okay. So here's 5 on the wide marker, and you'll notice here's 5 on the regular one, and you'll notice that, see the middle of that one is a little bit like this one. You kind of get the same essence of the two. So she kind of keeps them same, but as I say, she does change some of the stuff up. She makes it a little bit more conducive for coloring with wide markers and crayons, and so that's what she does. And I love the fact that she has these they're almost like companion coloring books where you can color one way and then you can color the same middle part another way. And so that's what she does. I have the Breathe books. They're pretty much a lot alike. Here's this piece that I did. I forgot to date it, so I don't remember what I did. But this is done with Copics, Dr. P.H. Martin's Gold Ink, and the Sakura White Jelly Roll. I'm finding that I actually lean towards now. Here's the color palette that I used for that one. I'm finding that I'm leaning towards more the Uniball Signo white gel pen, because I find that it gives it a more opaqueness than the Sakura, whatever you want to call it, I don't know. Than the white one. I find that the Uniball Signo, and they also have a Uniball Signo that's an ultra fine, and I'll be giving away the regular Signo and then the fine one in my giveaway, so stay tuned for that video. I will be hopefully filming that this afternoon when my son, I can get him to go play outside with his dad, and then see if my daughter, here we'll do a quick go through a Breathe. I will show you pages that I did color. That was just a quick one I did recently in October, just to kind of ease my mind. I've been pregnant for a while and hadn't colored and needed something to de-stress, and that's what I did. So, Transcendent. These are quite fun books. I have not colored in this one yet. Oh, I did, and I didn't mark it down. I thought I colored in this book. Actually, I think this is when I started, when I was pregnant, and I was just beginning to be, like in the beginning part of being pregnant, and I just could not stay awake in my first trimester of being pregnant. So Transcendent for white markers. Let's see. I did color some, I believe. If not, then, because I usually won't cut books open until I color a page. But at some point I was cutting books open, or cutting books apart, sorry. Cutting books apart too. Nope, I have not. I'm one of those weirdos too that likes collecting coloring books, even though I have enough stuff to color. Illuminate, I have not colored in Illuminate yet in the big marker book, but last week's video I did color in this book. I did page 36 because I remember that one. And so, let's see. So there's last week's video. Go check it out. I used Inktense, Derwent Inktense, Prismacolor Premier, neon colors, some Copics, some random gel pens I got from holla.com, and then also the Dove blending pen. And so, yeah, I mean, I have so many coloring books. I have more that I'm going to do another video later about that are not Angie Grace books. I have to say, I was a bit of a snob when it came to coloring books. In the beginning, I fell in love with only Angie Grace books. That is why I own 22 out of her 50 plus books that she owns. I will be honest with you that, yes, I am a loyal Angie Grace Coloring fan, and I love Angie Grace's stuff. I started branching out. I know some of my friends that are Angie Grace collectors like I am are gonna say, what? I did get some other books. I'll show you my other stuff that I got in another video. This one I just want to kind of focus on the Angie Grace books because I was going to do all of them, but then I realized that this video could be about 3 hours long with all the other stuff I have. So when I was doing stuff, Angie was doing her some of her stuff that she did. These are some of her wide marker stuff that she did in the beginning, and they're her more pattern books. So I got pizzazz and more pizzazz, and then she also does something that's quite cool. It's a sample book. It's a sample book of all of her stuff, a piece from each of her books, and she puts them in the book. Each time she makes a book, she updates one of the samples. So here is, so I'll talk to you guys. Here's the wide marker stuff that she did. These are more of a pattern style book. I did do a video on how I did this picture. And I will let you know every book has 50 images. And that's the one thing that's quite interesting because most coloring books, adult coloring books, don't give you this much variety or this much opportunity to color. Some of them stop at 24, some that stop at 25, or you only get a few, like 10. I know that kind of a lot of people are saying, well, unfortunately I was testing out ideas and I never finished, and I don't know why I allowed myself to not finish, but I didn't. Maybe one day I'll go back and color it and finish it. So these are more, they're different than the mandrel for crayons and white markers. They're more of a larger scale or a zoomed in image of pizzazz. And more pizzazz is kind of cool. She kind of takes more different elements out of the book. And that was my Pride, my Gay Pride one that I did with Spectrum R markers. I believe I did that with that one. That was around that time. I bought, these are some of the first books that I bought of Angie Grace's. I did not get into more of her mandala, or not mandala, they're mandrels. I gotta keep that straight because they're not true mandalas. And Angie will always tell you that they're mandrels, not mandalas. So here's her sample book. This is between 2014 2015, so it doesn't have any of our newer stuff. But you'll notice that the pages come what book they are from and what volume. So Classy, Angie's Pattern Book Volume 13. So you know which book you're coloring in at the moment. And if you want, Angie does have free download images that you can get from her sample books, and she does update that with a new one when a new book comes out. Here's one from Cool and Wow. These are some of her neat stuff, and I did that one with why can't I think? Polychroma, not Polychroma, Prismacolor colored pencils. Yeah, so that is my collection of Angie Grace. Oh, and this one I also did, I'll show you. I colored this with my son, and it was to be early 4th of July image. And he picked and told me where to put stuff and where I needed to color. So that was my first one. Yeah, so thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a little bit kind of scattered and long, but I wanted to do a real-time talking video for you guys because I haven't done anything like that in a really long time. So I'm gonna leave that there and then maybe add a couple more of these books just to kind of let you know the volume-wise of everything. There's the Wow stuff, and here are all of the mandrel series with the large and white marker stuff. So thanks for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and it really does appreciate if you hit the like button down below. I will be coming to you guys. The next video in this will be the giveaway video, so stay tuned on that one. and come along for the journey, and we will see you guys in the giveaway video. And then after that, I don't know, you guys let me know in the comments if you guys appreciate more of the traditional coloring stuff or digital. I am trying to do both. I am not that great at digital right now. I'm still learning traditional coloring, but yeah, keep a little thing. Maybe I'll do a poll up in the corner. Which corner? Let's see. It'd be this corner here, or this corner. I don't know, this corner. Yeah, that corner, right there. I think. I don't know, my camera's upside down, so if I'm in the wrong spot, go on the other side. I will do a poll, one of those pop-up polls that lets you know, hey, what's going on? And then you can tell me if you like traditional or digital, and then we can go from there. And if you guys want to see more of the canvas painting stuff, that's another topic. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you hopefully in another video. Bye.